Okay, so welcome to installment 7 of my little UFO game that I'm making. So, to remind us where we are, so far what we have is we have a ship that we can fly around, and we can pick people up, and if we pick them up, or if the tractor beam is kind of close to them, they start panicking, and so we get them waving their arms around. We can go ahead and abduct them into the ship. We get a score increase for that. But what I would like to do now is I would like to have the panic ones try to run away so that I have a mechanism by which I can lose the game. Because a game isn't really a game if you can't lose it somehow. So my criteria is going to be that you have to abduct like some certain percentage of the people, and if you panic them, then they'll run away and you won't be able to abduct them because they'll leave the room. So in order to do that, we're going to have kind of two versions of our people. And I think the cleanest code way to do this is to probably make another object. So I've got an object that's a person, and I think what I want to do is also create an object that's a panicked person. So I'm going to duplicate the obj person object, and I'm going to call it obj person. I'm going to call it obj panicked person. And I'm going to rename the other one obj calm person. Okay, so I've got my calm person, I've got my panicked person. I'm going to go in and open up the panicked person object, which is now the new one. I'm leaving the old one exactly the way it is because I was pretty happy with how that one works. As soon as they get hit by the only thing we're going to do with the other one is here when we've got them, in step, right now we're setting their sprite to a panicked person. I'm going to actually do a little bit of work with this. Let's actually do that first. So let's remove this. Actually, let's just comment it out. So you can hit Control K and that'll turn a code block off. So then the thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to destroy the instance. So that's going to destroy the panicked person or the calm person that I have. I'm going to want to create an instance. So we'll create an instance first. We have to do the create before we destroy it. If we destroy it, actually, I'm going to put this below that. If we destroy the instance first, then no more code will run. So anything you put below a destroy instance that's targeting the thing you're writing isn't going to work. So the instance I'm going to want to create is going to be an obj panicked person. I'm going to want to create it at the exact same spot that the calm person was created. I want it to go into the instances layer of the room, and I don't need to give it a name, so that'll be fine. So let's just run this. And we should have essentially the exact same behavior we had before. So now when I fire the tractor beam too close to people, they now start to panic. But what that means is they have shifted what they are. They were a calm person before, now they're a panicked person. So now I can go into the panicked person code and we can change some of the way that the panicked people act. Let's see. In the tractor beam code, I think I'm good with that. In the collision with the player object, I'm good with that. In the step is where things are going to get different. So we're no longer going to be doing any wandering at all, so we can delete a bunch of this stuff. So I don't need to get two random numbers. I don't need to do wandering. I got rid of gravity. Crap. Okay. Alright, so we're going to need to go get our gravity back because I deleted it by accident. So I'm going to go into my calm person, And I'm going to go into this guy, and I'm looking for gravity. This is the gravity component, or is this little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. I actually should comment that. So this is if outside the green rectangle, fall. Now, that code isn't relevant anymore, actually, because the calm person can no longer be lifted outside of the rectangle. So I can delete that, but I'm going to delete it later. So I'm going to go into the panic person, and the first thing I'm going to do is just paste this stuff that I just got out of the calm person. So this is the falling code, and I'm just getting it out of this else statement because I don't need it in an else statement. Okay, so they're going to be affected by gravity, and I want to have some conditions on that. So if they're affected by gravity, I want them to fall back down to where they started. So this is going to be, we're affecting them by gravity. And then we're gonna let, oops, I swapped the order on these. So we'll set y speed to 0.2. That'll increment, right? So every time when they're dropped, right, that'll go ahead and go up. I'm going to make sure that in my collision with my tractor beam, we are setting y speed to 0. Okay, good. So when they're in the tractor beam, gravity isn't affecting them. When they're outside of the tractor beam, then we'll go ahead and add this variable. So that's going to start dropping them. And we're going to say if their y value is less than their initial y position, then we'll go ahead and make them fall. So let's check that this is going to work. So now if I, they just fully freeze. Okay, that's not great. Why are they fully freezing? Oh, they're fully freezing because my panicked person sprite is actually equal to the calm person sprite. So I'm going to need to make sure that they're panicking. And then we'll try that again. So now when we fire the tractor beam, they should start to panic. And when I drop them, they'll drop back to the original levels that I picked them up at. So if we pick these three up, they'll drop back down to the levels they were originally at. Notice that after I've picked them up, they don't wander around anymore. And that's by design. I don't want them to wander around. I want them to run away from the ship. So now that we've got them panicked and standing still, we're going to, instead of having wander code, we're going to make them run. So I'm going to go look at the calm person code for just a second. Okay, so here we had these wander speeds. We got those by taking some random numbers. We did if they were in the box, then we'd go ahead and they could wander around. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into our panicked person and we're going to say, all right, let's declare a couple of temporary variables. So here's temporary variables. And these temporary variables are going to be, let's see. So if y is less than y start, then they'll fall. And then this is where we're going to want to add an else. And then we're going to want to put all of this stuff in the else. So the if part is getting them to fall back to the level that they were at. Once they're at the level that they're at, I want them to flee. So as they flee, this is where we're going to want to pick some temps. So, let's see. I'm going to say... Okay, so I'm thinking about when they get back to the bottom, they're going to be on one side or the other of the ship, right? And then I'm going to want them to try to increase which side they're on. So I'm going to declare a temp variable here, and this is going to be x. I don't really want to use wander speed, but I guess we can. It's a terrible name. I'm going to call it x flee speed. Okay, and our value for our x fleeing speed is going to be, I don't know, what were we using for wander? Like 2 or 3? So I'm going to use like 3 times, what the hell? Let's go with 2 times. I need the sine. So I need to use this sine function because I need to know whether they're on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the ship. So we're going to do obj player x minus the x coordinate of the guy we're in. Okay. So that's going to set this. And then I'm going to assign a variable based on this. And the variable that I'm going to assign is going to be x. No, it's going to be x. And here we're going to do x flee speed. And that's going to be relative. So that's going to get them moving in that direction. Okay, so now we should be able to start. And if I try to pick up some people... Oops, they're moving towards the ship, not away from it. That's a bad idea. Silly guys. So we're going to want to do... Instead of obj player.x, so instead of the ship's x coordinate minus the person's, we'll do the person's minus the ship's. So that should get them to flee in the opposite direction. Okay, so now when they're panicked, they try to run away from the ship. Freaking awesome. All right, now I want to make them run away in the vertical as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it right here. And we're going to copy this, and we're going to paste that right there. And then we're just going to change these to y. Y, I'm going to use a speed of 1. And on this, it just needs to, they just need to be fleeing down, basically. And then we're going to increment y by y flee speed. And just to make this look a little more interesting, I'm actually going to make this one... Okay, what I want to do is make it a percentage of how close the ship is to them. Because if the ship's close to the ground, I want them to run away, like, kind of towards the camera. And if the ship's high up, I want them to kind of flee horizontally. So I'm going to try 10% of the distance to object. And the object that we're going to have them fleeing is going to be obj player. So that's making them flee at 10% of the distance. Oh, that's going to be way too high. Let's do 1% of the distance. Because just looking at it here, the distance between here and the ship's at y is 160, and the player down here is at, the little abductee down here is at 512. So that's going to make them flee vertically at a speed of 5, even when it's that far away. That feels too much. That feels like way too much. So we're going to do 0.025. All right, let's see what we get here. Okay, so now when we panic, now they run down. and you can see that the closer I am to them... Oh, that's interesting. If I happen to pick them up enough that they get right into the tractor beam, they only run away. And then if I move to the side... Okay. Oh, I've got it inversely proportional. They flee faster the further away they are. That's crap. We don't want that. Let's see. So I want to do... let's see. Okay, so my scaling factor is going to be wrong, but we want to do 1 over the distance. And I said, what? That it was like 400-ish? So that's going to be like 1 over 400. So let's do 400 times this. And now, if I get closer to them, they should flee faster initially from the vertical. Okay, cool. Sorry, that was inverse proportionality. I'm not totally sure what level of math the viewers might have. So what I was doing there was I had it as some percentage of the distance to the object, which means as the distance gets bigger, the rate gets bigger, right? So as the distance get bigger, then they run away faster. I wanted it to be the opposite of that, so I took 1 and divided by the distance, and then multiplied it by some kind of compensating factor. Really, I just took that whole equation and put it on the bottom of a fraction instead of on the top, to make it so that as the distance gets bigger, the flee rate gets slower. All right, but basically, I'm kind of happy with this. It's actually kind of, it's not like incredibly easy to catch these guys now. So let me see how many of them I can get. So I think the varsity move is going to be to get real low, and then like collect a group at a time. So collect a group. Oh, I'm causing more to panic. More to panic. Dang it. I'm losing some. Okay, so I managed 21. There were 30, I think, to start with. So that's not too bad. Let's see. I have a memory leak problem, so I want to fix the memory leak problem. So that's going to be, what is it? Outside screen or something? Nope. It's like a wrap. 1 second. Okay, so the place we want to go to fix our memory leak, which is caused by the little guys running, right? Once they exit the room, I want them to be destroyed. So I'm going to go over here. What the heck? I'm going to go over here. And to my panicked person, I'm going to add an event. And the event I'm going to add is under Other, and it's Outside Room. So if they leave the room, I just want to destroy the instance. Boop. Great. So that just stops a memory leak. So now I think we're basically good to go on these guys. So let's run this and see. So now I've got these guys. They're fleeing per usual. I'm actually kind of digging the way they look when they flee, which is fun. And now I managed no abductions. I'm assuming that the outside of room thing worked. I don't have a way to actually check that without getting into the guts of some stuff. Thanks for watching this one. I think the next one might be the last one.